Crypto Kids, I am buying Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Chainlink following the breaking news we received over the past 24 hours, over the past 1 week, over the past 2 weeks. In this video, we're going to cover exactly what those pieces of breaking news are, why I'm so bullish on specifically those four cryptocurrencies. I think you're going to find this video very, very useful. So make sure to stick around until the end. We will do technical analysis on those particular coins too. And yeah, there's a shocking thing, which I never expected, to be honest, in my lifetime would take place. Guys, fasten your seatbelts. Make sure you destroy the like button. Subscribe if you're not a crypto kid already. And let's get this show started. In the bottom of the bear market, we're seeing so much development. In the last bear market, we saw FTX collapsing. We saw Luna collapsing. We saw BlockFi collapsing. The reputation of the cryptocurrency industry was going in the dustbin. Fast forward to 2026, are we in a bear market? Of course we are. But look at the reputational risk in crypto. We are seeing $12 trillion Charles Schwab enabling crypto trading and holding at the bottom of the bear market. Charles Schwab is in the top three of asset allocators. You have BlackRock, you have Vanguard, and you have Charles Schwab. Would have they done this in 2022, bottom of the bear, when all of these bad things, these atrocities were taking place? Absolutely not. That goes to show Bitcoin crypto has leveled up. We're in a different league now. And even though that is the truth, people are not buying. People are not buying into things like Bitcoin at $66,000. People are not buying into things like Ethereum at $2,000. I think that's a mistake given everything that is taking place. Apart from Charles Schwab going to enable crypto trading and holding. By the way, these big institutions, they recommend anywhere from 1 to 5% of portfolio allocation into the crypto industry. Assuming it was 5%, you're looking at $600, $700 billion coming into crypto in a good, healthy way over the long term without the incentive of selling in the short term. So I really love these institutions coming in and buying because they're not like the tourists. They stay, and we've seen that proven by the Bitcoin ETFs. They buy for the long term. Even if prices drop, they don't sell as much as when prices go up. They buy significantly more and hold when prices go to the upside, and ultimately prices will go to the upside. The second and the most mind-blowing event of crypto within the past 7 days was the IMF. The IMF released a 23-page document, which covers why tokenization is going to be the future. Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director of IMF, and previous positions include CEO of the World Bank and vice president of the European Commission, posted a tweet linking the article stating tokenization can transform finance, faster settlement, better liquidity, smarter compliance. And it summarizes the document pretty well. The IMF, the guys that called making Bitcoin illegal tender a horrible idea, the guys that said that crypto is risky, they were like the JP Morgans, potentially even worse. They are now mentioning to everyone in the world, tokenization is the future. Everything will likely be tokenized. And why we should see that is because you'll see faster settlements, going from 2 to 3 days of settlement of when you buy stock from your brokerage to that stock actually going under your name. It takes 2 to 3 days. It's very laborious. So many people involved. The exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, communicates with the DTCC. The clearinghouse communicates with the brokerage. They do the whole, archaic form of transfer, and boom, the stock is yours. But it took 2 to 3 days. If you do it all on chain, if you tokenize it, instantaneous, right, in seconds instead of 72 hours, you're looking at seconds of settlement. It will all be recorded on a public, transparent blockchain, so there is no corruption risk. There is no risk in the stock going to a different person by accident. The mathematics doesn't allow that for taking place, and costs are reduced from perhaps $10, $20, I'm just guessing here, to cents. All right. So this is going to be the future. It's not only the IMF stating that tokenization will lead to faster settlement, better liquidity, smarter compliance. You're looking at the biggest institutions in the world, BlackRock, $14 trillion under assets under management, releasing in their letter to their investors on March 23rd, saying that digital wallets will be more widespread. It will enable more people to invest and build wealth because, if you go to an exchange, there's a lot of KYC necessary. Some people across the world don't have particular documents under their name, which isn't their fault. But if you do it on DeFi, if you give people digital wallets, you're increasing accessibility. You're increasing participation in finance. You're giving people the chance to escape poverty. So investments will become easier to issue, easier to trade, and easier to access. And this happens in a future where we're tokenized. So this was one of the primary subjects mentioned in BlackRock CEO Larry Fink's letter to their investors. He stated tokenization could help accelerate that future by updating the plumbing of the financial system, making investments easier to use, easier to trade, and easier to access. So everyone, the asset allocators, even the regulators themselves, the SEC chair Paul Atkins, saying that he's eliminating rules to advance, clarify, and transform financial markets via tokenization. Everybody's going all in on this. Everyone and their mother, apart from retail, is going all in on this. You're saying, okay, beautiful, great news, crypto kid, but why do you think Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, and BNB are the ways to allocate your own capital? Well, I'm saying this because the tokenization will happen, but where is it going to happen? Where do you think it's going to happen? Sure, BlackRock, JP Morgan, and some other companies are developing their own private blockchains, privatized blockchains, where they're still, a ledger and they work in the same way a public blockchain does, but it's more closed off. It's not as transparent as the public blockchains we have today. And I think these private blockchains they're developing are still in the early stages. They don't have the battle tested Ethereum's 10-year history. If they launch their own private blockchain, still things can go wrong. It's not going to be an easy rollout. So I think they will start incorporating Ethereums, the BNBs, the Solanas first, and then do things after a while on their own private blockchains. And even if they use their private blockchains, it will be interoperable with public blockchains. The people will say, okay, you know what, I can go to BlackRock's own private blockchain, but I can also use Ethereum, which is much more public and transparent, right? So I think that there will be adoption in both ways. I think Ethereum, BNB, Solana in particular will see heavier adoption compared to other layer ones. While you may be saying, well, let's look at real world assets, right? Let's look at where the real world assets are mostly in. They're in Ethereum, $15 billion already tokenized on Ethereum. BNB already $3.5 billion. Solana, $2 billion. Huge, right? When we look at all tokenization that's taking place, Canton has 419 billion. They provide the private blockchain services. So yeah, okay, fine. Maybe BlackRock's own native blockchain is going to have the most assets, but it will still give some leg room for Ethereum to grow and increase their assets under management. This is why, as the public, we can't invest in BlackRock's own blockchain, but I can invest in Ethereum. And that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. When I take a look at Ethereum's technical analysis, you're sitting at insane support, multi-cycle support. Okay, can Ethereum break further to the downside? Can Ethereum fall another 30% from where we are? Sure, it can, and this is an important point. Even though Ethereum has the potential to fall down by another 30% from where it is sitting at, it doesn't change the fact that here is a good buying opportunity according to technical analysis. So I'm buying Ethereum here. Even opening 2x long positions at this line of support could be something to consider if you're planning on buying cryptocurrencies and trading cryptocurrencies and want to get the best bonuses. Check out the description down below for Levex, BTCC, and Bybit. Those are the areas where you can trade, buy cryptocurrencies. Links are all in the description down below. BTCC lets you trade WTI, which is crude oil, gold, silver, with just your email address and password. Check out the link for BTCC in the link down in the description. But Ethereum for me is a big buy. It's tried, it's tested. We already have 15.5 billion tokenized directly on Ethereum. Then you have funds, which JP Morgan, for the likes of it, have launched $100 million fund on Ethereum. JP Morgan, the guys that hated crypto, they called crypto a Ponzi scheme. Look at what they've done. They've put $100 million of US treasuries onto Ethereum. They've done it. They've already launched it. and they're seeing good adoption with this particular money market fund. Not everybody can participate in it. You have to be an accredited investor, but they've done it. It's a fund on Ethereum worth $100 million from JP Morgan. From JP Morgan, the guys that hated crypto the most. So for me, buying Ethereum makes so much sense. The more things that are on Ethereum, the more Ethereum people need to buy to access these products, the higher the price of Ethereum goes. So Ethereum is number one on that list. 95% of cryptocurrencies have been classified as non-securities by the SEC and CFTC. Did you see this? In joint efforts between the SEC, the CFTC, the two important regulatory bodies in America, have shifted away from choke point 2.0, trying to kill crypto, to now making crypto legally clarified on what is what. What is a commodity? What is a collectible? What is a commodity? We made a video on this before, but we can see Aptos, Avalanche, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Chainlink, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Polkadot, Shiba, Stellar, Tezos, XRP, HBAR. These are now officially classified as commodities. And commodities are anything that has a layer one and they're decentralized. That's the most simple way of explaining it. So 95% of layer one cryptocurrencies are commodities now, officially commodities, not securities. This reduces the hesitation that institutions have into allocating into altcoins. They were allocating into Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin was classified a commodity by the SEC in 2024 by Gary Gensler. But altcoins were a big question mark. Now, you're seeing 95% of all layer ones a commodity. These are just examples, but anything that is on a distributed layer and has its own blockchain system and is a representation of value cryptographically recorded on the blockchain, they are most likely going to be a commodity and not a security. Only a very small amount of cryptocurrencies are classified as securities, and Ethereum is not one of them, Solana is not one of them, Chainlink is not one of them, and BNB is not one of them. And those are the ones that I'm buying because they have the regulatory clarity, tick. They have their own ETF, some of them does, Ethereum does, Solana does, Chainlink does, BNB doesn't. But you have your own spot ETFs. The avenues of institutional investment are there, so they can actually allocate their capital. The regulatory clarification is there, and they're tried and tested. You have tokenized stocks, tokenized assets being put on them even right now. This is why I'm allocating. So Ethereum is one. Solana, okay, Solana's price chart does not look the most attractive. I got to be honest with you. Solana can very well come down to even the $30 marks. It's possible. Okay, I need to make this crystal clear. Solana is a more risky one compared to Ethereum. But I am buying Solana here. I'm going to be buying Solana at $50, $60, $40, $30, depending on, how much we come down by. I don't think we would go lower than $30, to be honest with you. So I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm putting limit orders to buy Solana at as many intervals that I possibly can between 80, which is where we are today, and $30. I'm not saying the $30 is set in stone. I'm just saying it's a possibility that could happen, so be careful. All right, but for the long term, I see Solana going to hundreds of dollars. BNB, $590. We predicted perfectly. We opened a long position when we broke above the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders. We said we would go to 1,200. That's exactly where we went to. We made good amounts of money, and now we're back below the support line. Prior support line, we're at 590. Can BNB come down lower? Can it come all the way to $350? It can come down. So just like Solana, buying here, buying all the way down to $350. And Chainlink is actually my favorite out of them all. I have a special place in my heart for Chainlink. Why? Yes, we broke below this pennant. Yes, we tested the 10-10 liquidation candle wick like we said we would. Chainlink is the oracle that is bringing off-chain data for, let's say, the price of Tesla stock on the market. It's taking this data from off-chain and it's putting it on-chain. Without the oracles of Chainlink, tokenization does not happen. So they are a pivotal key player that enables this whole tokenization thing. You need Chainlink's infrastructure. And Link is used as a payment process within the Chainlink protocol. So it's very important. It's a utility token, and Chainlink as a project enables the tokenization from happening in the first place. So these are the coins that I'm buying heavily. Can they come down lower? They can. And it's important to understand that staying on the sidelines is risky for me because what if we don't come down lower? What if this is the bottom? You just don't know. I know that we're close to the bottom or we saw the bottom. So the range, the time range is there, but you can't tell for sure if it's the exact bottom or not. So I started to buy, and I'm going to be buying more. These are the tokens that I'm purchasing. These are the tokens that I'm personally accumulating. Is this legislation set in stone? The project crypto legislation between the CFTC and the SEC. Is this going to be forever the case? No. This can be reversed by future administration. Hence, we need the Clarity Act to pass. Republicans have a majority in Congress, so if we're going to pass the Clarity, it has to happen before the end of this year. Tom Emmer, the strongest, politically strongest Republican, apart from the Speaker of the House, the majority whip of the Republican Party, he's also supporting the Clarity Act. So if we get this passed, then regardless of if a Democrat comes in or if a Republican that doesn't like crypto comes in a future administration, they cannot reverse this legislation. They will make it cemented, and institutions will have even less hesitation to put money into these altcoins, and I think they ultimately will. And even if they don't put money into them, they're going to have to use them for tokenization. We have a few more to go through, a few more facts to go through. Quadrillions currently, quadrillions. When you look at the DTCC, the clearinghouse that actually takes the assets and processes them, right? By the way, BlackRock also has its own fund worth $1 billion on Ethereum, securitized, if you didn't know. Franklin Templeton, a $2 trillion asset manager, is also creating an institutional grade crypto investment management unit. BlackRock is hiring employees to work at BlackRock to become digital asset workers. Like these are all side things that are going on in the background. The New York Stock Exchange is already developing their own tokenized trading platform, like a New York Stock Exchange 2.0. These are all side facts, okay, that I just wanted to bring in to the table. The DTCC that enables the clearing and does the settlements of equities and whatnot, they process roughly $2 quadrillion per year. Let's say 10% of it's tokenized, which I think ultimately all of it will be tokenized. Let's say 10%, that's $260 trillion. It doesn't even make sense that that is the case, but it's true. It's true, $260 trillion. If 10% went into Ethereum, Ethereum processes how much? It processes roughly about 25 to 30 billion dollars in volume per month. 260 trillion. Can you imagine how much buying activity there's going to be on ETH because of how much it's being used? Like it's so hard to extrapolate. I want to give you the macro image of what's really happening here, and you can decide for yourself. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover. The tokens I'm buying, Chainlink, Ethereum, I'm buying BNB, Solana. But really, any layer one that enables tokenization, like even AVAX, I think is a good one to consider. So yeah, just do your research on this topic additionally after even the things that I've shown you. And I think it will be clear which assets to allocate are the prime ones, right, compared to the rest of the 99% of cryptocurrencies. Before we finish, a few more important things to mention. DeFi officially is also classified as a legal activity in America. The Bank of Canada published a report on Aave concluding that DeFi lending is technically and operationally viable. So the DeFi industry, I think, is also going to do well. So apart from those four, I think DeFi is also a good buy. So Aave, this is not our Aave. Aave USDT. I think it's a good buy. I think Pancake USDT. It's not as good as a buy as the others, but it could be one that you want to dollar cost average. It's the BNB chain's #1 DeFi platform. I used PancakeSwap a lot in 2021. I think their UI is pretty good. Then Uniswap is the largest for Ethereum. So if you can dollar cost average in DeFi 2 at these current prices, I think it's going to be rather rewarding. That is it. That is a wrap. Tether is seeing a huge audit. Tether is now going to be audited by one of the big fours, either BCG, McKinsey, PwC, or Deloitte. The reserves getting audited means people will put more money into stable coins. More money in stable coins means more money put into crypto, taking prices higher. And we're seeing Bitcoin bonds. Like, Bitcoin bonds will cement buying pressure from nations. They're issuing bonds to buy Bitcoin for their own stockpile, and they're not going to sell until the maturity of the bond, which can be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Like, so much is happening, guys and girls. So much. I don't understand how people are bearish. At these prices, it's time to buy, not to sell. And I hope this message has been made clear in the video. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.